Morning everybody, welcome back to a new video. I only filmed yesterday just because I can and I'm going to, so I'm going to film some videos in my little bit of time off. So today we are once again working on the 33. We've got some 840cc Denso injectors to put in. So these injectors here I've got, so 840cc Denso injectors. I'll show you the variety of tools I've brought from work just just in case. So some snips, battery ratchet, some more snips, seal pick for little hose if I have to use it, quarter drive ratchet, some sockets, a little extension, 3/8 ratchet deep sockets, some 3/8 short sockets, some flexi head, ratchet spanners, some shifters, a screw gun, a torch, but obviously it's quite bright so I don't need a torch, and then the injectors. So I bought these off eBay maybe about a month ago. They've just been kind of sitting in a box literally right there waiting for me to put them in. So we'll go to the front of the car. I'll show you what I've already undone, or where I've already started we should say. So undone the TPS plug, the little coolant sensor. I'm considering undoing the VCT plug as well because I'm going to undo the injector rail and obviously slide out this way, so anything that's going to be in this way is going to be a bit of a pain. So next things next, we're going to go J-pipe, pull the J-pipe off, and anything else that's really kind of in the way. So what you will need to remove though will be the intake manifold. So not the intake, but like obviously, well yeah, the intake. So intake, J-pipe, IACV valve at the back there, so you can get to all the bolts and everything. Now because this is a Neo, it's got all these stupid coolant hoses everywhere, so I'm hoping, like there's a coolant hose right there, I'm hoping that obviously I'll drop coolant, but you know, we'll just top it back up. So anyway, I'll put the camera down and we'll get stuck into it. Right, so first things first, I've just brought a variety of sockets over here just for Justin, as in just in case. So first thing we'll do, we'll undo the IACV line, which is obviously this big rubber line, which would normally be here on the side of the J-pipe elbow, but because my external wastegate is sitting there, I've had to cut it off, blank it off, and relocate it here. So obviously it comes from the bottom of the IACV to the J-pipe, which is there. Then we'll undo these here, these hose clamps. I pulled it off a little bit too far, but should be right. So that one, and here. Okay, so that's ready to come out. So by rights, I should just be able to pull that. It's going to be a bastard to get off. This is why I brought a seal pick. Hang on. So a little seal pick will come in handy just to get in and under lines and stuff like that. Maybe not. So put it off. Don't lose your hose clamps because they'll just go walkabout otherwise. And because this is actually a barb fitting, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it off. But I guess we'll find out, won't we? Okay, so after fighting that, now I struggled so much because it's obviously a very sharply barbed aluminium fitting. So this is where the like the J-pipe, say elbow IACV line is supposed to go in, but obviously I've moved it to here because of the external gate right there. So what's next is we can undo, there's some little hose clamps, I don't know if you can see them from here to there, which is a little coolant line. So what I will do is I'll just undo it from this side and up here, and we can pull that whole thing out, which I'm going to say is going to be a 12 mil socket. Nope, what's that? What have I got there? 13. Dickhead. This will be a 12. So that. And pull that off. So now this is actually a Series 2 intake for anyone that wants to know. So all I've done is there's a little barb fitting thing that's supposed to come out the top here, which I've obviously cut off and welded up because the engine is running Series 2 ECU and loom. So obviously I've just got the loom to suit. The other thing that you've got to change for an RB Neo to run on a Series 2 lumen ECU is you've got to change the pin configuration of the CAS sensor. So that's pretty easily done. It's like, instead of it going 4 through 3, 2, 1, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. You got to flip it or flip a couple, obviously a couple pins and go from there. So always good to keep your bolts somewhere you remember. Whenever I'm working on the car, I always put them up on the little cowling up there. Makes it easy. So I'll get the other two, I'll crack the other two at the bottom. Like so. So I'll crack them. Now guys, it always helps if you have to take photos of everything you pull off, because you can never be too sure about where everything goes back together. And also guys, if you haven't done this before, I always would recommend getting fresh gaskets, because once you disturb a gasket, it's never going to have that really nice seal again. But I'm not going to replace them, because obviously when I put this motor together, I replaced all the gaskets as I was going along. So I'm not really too phased about replacing all the gaskets. Okay, so that's starting to come. Just got to undo this little bit of hose here. Now most of these lines that run across and under here are all mainly coolant lines, which go to the IACV, I guess. That one up there, I'll do that. Just a pair of pliers guys is all you really need for these Nissan clamps. We'll try with the seal pick. I just don't want to wear it on my finger. There we go. Okay. So that should, by right, just come out there. That should just slip off. Just like that. Okay, next thing we'll undo will be, we'll undo the PCV valve. So we'll undo that from there. Undo that from there. This is probably going to be one of those hoses that's just going to be brittle and quite hard to get undone, I have a feeling. Okay, that wasn't that bad. Try not to bust the PCV valve on its own. Oh, there we go. Oh, look at that. Typical fucking Nissan. Oh, every time I want to do something, that's shit like this always happens. Okay, so we're starting to get a bit of clear access now to the rail. Hopefully I might just be able to move these out the way, because there's, how many hold this rail in? 2. So next thing we will do is I'll undo these 2 coolant lines here, and we'll undo the IACV. So I'll put the camera back on when I do that. Okay, so I've got the fuel lines off. You can see the blue tops of the injectors all the way through there. I've pulled the IACV completely off. I've got the injector loom unplugged and it's sitting literally right there. So next thing we'll try and do is get those bolts out, and then hopefully the injector rail should slide out from there. So I'll get that out and we'll go from there. So after an absolute mission of an afternoon, I've finally got the injectors out. I literally just drove from where I live in Brisbane to EFI Solutions down at Burleigh to get one of these. So this is that stupid black hose that goes from right here. So the PCV valve port that goes from there to there, because obviously if I didn't have this, like a brand new one or a good one, my car would idle like shit. So I drove to get one of them. Also now, I'm not sure if you would have noticed guys, if the light will be good, there we go. So before you would have seen there was an extra little fuel line that was coming out of here. So what was there is, you can see I've also cut the bracket away. So there was another bracket that held another line originally, because this here is your return line, which used to have an actual fuel dampener on it. Then this other line ran out. So there's pretty much 3 lines that go into the RB25 Neo rail. If anyone understands what I mean, give this video a thumbs up, because this was an absolute pain in the ass. So the new injectors are in. You can see the green Densos in there now. I've plugged the injector loom back in, but what I had to do to get these out of the rail, right, because everything in there is so tight, and because you've got a fuel line that runs right up underneath the inside of the intake there, I literally had to disconnect these from the engine and then the rail at the same time. So I had to literally undo the locking clip, pull the rail off, and then try and scoot these out from underneath the rail and away from the head to get them out, which was an absolute pain in the ass. So I don't recommend changing injectors on an RB25 Neo, but as you can see, all the injectors are back in there now. They look pretty cool in there, so I'm happy about that. Now I have literally just finished doing up all the bolts, so they're actually 12mm bolts. There's only 2 of them on the Neo, so one here, one a little bit further down, but on the standard RB25s, I think like the S1 and S2, I think there's 3 bolts from what I've read. But I've got the fuel lines and everything plugged back in. The brackets are all done back up. One thing I would say to do, guys, is when you're getting injectors, get yourself some rubber grease and put rubber grease on the O-rings top and bottom before you put them in. These are just obviously the factory, come on focus. And it doesn't matter, but these are just the factory, I think they're 3 something CC injectors, I got no idea, but I will continue on, guys, now and put everything back together. So I probably started this maybe 9:30 this morning. It's now like 3 o'clock, so it's pretty much been the whole day trying to get this set of injectors done, but I guess this is the first set of injectors I've ever done, so you know, things do take time, but I'm just grateful that I had the right tools. Also, another thing I did replace is there's a little fuel hose that you can probably see. There we go. There's a little fuel hose right there. That's another thing that was holding me up so long, which it goes from there to the back side of the rail, which you can't really see because it's under the injector loom, but that there is what was holding me from getting this whole rail out, and also that bracketry that was in the end there. So I cut that all the bracket off, so it's just got in, out, and that's all that needs to be there now. So anyway, I'll continue putting this back together, guys, and I'll pick you up very shortly. Okay, so after all that ordeal, everything's put back together, so I've double checked everything, always double check everything. So obviously my fuel lines are back tight, the injectors are all clipped in, the PCV valve new line's back on, that little coolant cross line's done, the ICV is all done back up. I made sure the gasket wasn't folded or broken, I plugged it back in, the ICV breather line is back in, the boost line for the wastegate, which is clearly blocked off and not in use, is back on. The crossover pipes are all done back up. So by rights I should be able to, I really should be able to start this now. So I'll go inside, I'll grab my car keys, and yeah, we'll start her up. So I'll go inside and we'll go from there. Fingers crossed. Yeah, good. So it's on, I'll just check for leaks. It seems to be fine and operating, so that's all that really matters. So anyway, that'll be the end of today's video. So this wasn't really like a how-to, it was just kind of me having a go at putting injectors in, which obviously was pretty successful, as you can hear. The car's running, so thank you so much for watching, guys. There'll be a new video to come, probably maybe next week when the car gets tuned. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.